these phones are going to be the death of me. And when he does come, he's constantly looking at his phone and like the shuffle walk to get to the car looking at his phone. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, really?
I feel the same way about
Well,
the
it
phones.
makes you feel like you're not important.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
Morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How's everybody doing?
Besides my allergies, pretty well.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Did you guys watch basketball? We had March Madness wrapped up.
Yeah.
I know, Kathy, you've been really into it and following it.
Yes. So I've always enjoyed March Madness, and my kids have always done all the polls. Like we always do our lists. And one of my husband's friends has done like a charity event for this. So the kids have been picking teams like when they were little. So we'd all have our sheets.
Yeah.
And this year has been very exciting for us because the Iowa women's basketball team has done so well. And
Yeah.
we all went to Iowa, us sisters.
Mhm.
So it means kind of a lot to us that, Iowa has done amazing. And Caitlin Clark
Yeah, it was fun to
has
watch
been like,
Caitlin, and I've seen her interviewed a few times. I mean, she's the real deal.
she
Yeah.
is amazing. And I
She
think even
is.
just watching all those girls, like they really are something. But
They're incredible athletes.
she was fun to watch. And we watched the other game actually up in my room, and both of my kids are sitting there with me watching it. It was fun.
Watching the final,
Yeah.
you mean, against South Carolina? Yeah, Riley watched it with me too, which we normally don't watch women's basketball, to be honest. And I think that's the cool thing of what I feel like
Mhm.
this season did. Like she got people excited about women's basketball, and I'm included in that.
Right.
So it was fun to watch. These girls are amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
It was fun.
So I think it's cool what she did for the sport on top of
I
everything
do too.
else.
I actually, watching those games, some of those fouls were like rough. And I was worried, like, a couple of those Iowa girls got like hit in the nose and I was thinking their mouth. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope nothing's terrible is going to happen. When she ran out of the court, that young girl that got hit in the nose, I thought, oh my gosh, is she going to return?
I mean, it's very physical.
I mean, that's just a sport at that high end. I mean,
Yeah.
we played sports, but I mean, I look at these girls, these women, and I was never an elite like that. I mean, I'm in awe of it. Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah, it's
amazing would
amazing.
that be to like play on such a huge stage, huge level? I mean, I'm a guppy compared to
Yeah.
any
I found myself actually getting emotional about it, like because it was their last, a few of them were seniors. It was their last game, and it didn't end well for Iowa, and I just felt like bad, and I could tell she
I
felt bad,
know.
but yeah.
Yeah,
But they did great. They have nothing to be sad
they
about.
did. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week we talked about a few things, but one thing I wanted to circle back on was this, like, it's raining cats and dogs. So I looked it up, and let me tell you, there's not a great
Oh.
explanation for what it is, how it came about, but I read where back in the 1500s, of course, it was like dirt roads and there was no drainage, and there were a lot of feral animals in the streets. And when they would have what we would call a gully washer, animals would die
Oh.
and they would
Oh.
kind of wash through the street.
Oh.
And so a couple of
That's right.
writers would talk about this, like, and they
Raining cats and
pinpointed like
dogs.
cats and
Yeah,
dogs.
that makes
Oh,
sense.
well, that
Yeah.
is like dark.
But super
Dark.
gross, super
Yeah.
yucky, super glad we don't have that anymore. But that is the best explanation I can find for why we say it's raining cats and dogs. Now, Kathy,
Alright.
I'm interested in knowing, circling back from last week, hangers, how much do they weigh?
So I actually did weigh them because I was thinking about this. Is putting my clothes on the hangers causing that much weight? 15
Yeah.
hangers, which is probably, you know, could be about right, but maybe more than I would take. 2 pounds.
Oh,
So
I think 2 pounds can be a lot.
I thought it was
it
going to be
can.
like
It's a good 2
1
outfits.
pound, but
Yeah. I thought it would be a little bit more than that,
yeah, but it's
truthfully.
not like 5
So,
pounds.
right. I agree. Yeah. It's
No, but
manageable.
every pound counts,
It does.
Well,
especially
I
when
mean,
you're
it's an
going on a
well,
trip.
outfit.
especially when you're going on these like airlines that have restrictions with the 40-pound
Yeah.
rule,
I
and they're
know.
like
I know.
sticklers with it. So, but anyway, yeah, 2 pounds.
2 pounds. Okay. Now we know. Inquiring minds have the answer. So I don't know if you guys remember, but last weekend I went to visit my daughter at school. And let me just tell you what happened really quick, and then we'll get into our topic of the day. But first of all, I learned 2 new words I'm going to share with you. One is darty. Darty. Darty is a day party.
Oh.
Jardy is a jeans themed day party. So I learned that. So when I went there, I went on Thursday because activities for Mom's Weekend started on Friday, and it's a long
Can
drive.
I
So I
can I
didn't.
ask a quick question, not to interrupt? Are jeans not cool anymore? Is it like you don't wear jeans on a normal day-to-day basis?
No, 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 they do. But what I did really notice at this fraternity was a lot of boys had on overalls, jean overalls, and in that front pocket, they would have a beer
Oh.
or a bottle of wine.
Oh.
What?
So,
Handy.
I've seen like the
That's
yeah,
handy.
the jean thing. A lot of kids wear those to football games. I didn't realize this is like a
y-
party outfit.
it's a thing. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
Maybe I need a
yeah.
pair of overalls just for that to hold my
Well,
drink
you
when
did
I'm
used to like
when
overalls. You
I love
Well,
you
I
overalls.
actually have overalls.
I love them.
I
I
do
love that they're
too.
coming back, and I'm all
I
about
know.
it.
Well,
So
they're back. I mean,
this summer,
hands down, they're back. They're back.
this
All
summer
of
you're
it,
gonna
it's all back.
listen. This summer you're gonna see me in them when we're together. I'm
Okay.
gonna have some cute overalls, and maybe I'll use that front pocket as my drink holder.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Add a
learning
straw.
something.
You're good to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, learning something from these young bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got there on Thursday and I had made a hotel reservation, and so I do my thing with my daughter and I have dinner and we go whatever. And she's like, I have class in the morning. Why don't you drop me at my dorm? So I drop her. I go to check into this hotel and I tell them my name. And he's like, he's looking and looking and looking. Can't find me. And I said, well, how about if I pull up my confirmation? Pull up my confirmation. He says, oh, you made a reservation in Oxford, Mississippi, not Oxford, Ohio. And we're full.
Oh gosh.
And this is a college town. So I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. So he offered to call around and he did find me a room. And it was amazing that he found me a room. And so then on Friday, I had made arrangements to rent a room about what I thought was like 20 minutes away. So Friday, we do all the things. I end up going out with my daughter and her roommate for next year and her mom. And we go to this bar and I have a beer with her. And by the time we're done with this, it's like 11 o'clock at night. So I drop her at her dorm and I drive what I think is going to be 20 minutes, but it's really 40 minutes. And it's cute, but it's like the basement of this little house. And it's very inexpensive and amazing. But I was a wreck by the time I got there because for whatever reason, I was triggered. It was like so dark and windy and deer were everywhere, and I was just like, I'm going to be killed. So that night, I decided I don't care how much money I have to spend. I am not going to stay in this basement again. I want to be able to like get home safely. So I'm online and I'm going crazy, and I find a room at this like Quality Inn. So the next day I get out, the people graciously refund half of my money, and I go hang out with my daughter. So in the afternoon, she's like, I really want to take a nap. Does your room have 2 beds or 1? It's like, it only has 1. She's like, okay, drop me. So I drop her. I go check in. I walk into this place and it's full under construction. There's workers, there's wires hanging, there's drywall dust. It's like the walls are like the first taping of the drywall. It's a hot mess. And I walk in and I'm kind of panicking because I have no place to stay except this place. And I walk in, I'm like, are you open? Yes, 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 we're open. Come in, come in, come in. So I check in, I walk through the lobby. I said to the guy, I'm like, I don't know if you guys should be open. This is crazy to me. But I check myself. I get in the elevator. It ricketies on up to the second floor. I get in my room and I'm just like, okay, it's $365 to stay in this room. I go in there. There's drywall dust. It's fine. But again, I'm like, it's just one night. Who cares? It'll be convenient, blah, blah, blah. I turn on the TV. I sit on the bed to just like relax for a few minutes. Bam, pow. Like I hear this crazy, it startled the crap out of me. So I go into the bathroom and I'm like, what the heck is that? The shower is dripping. There's a huge, like crappy paste patching job on the ceiling. And the toilet is making this crazy noise and it's running, running, running. But it's not like a quiet little run. It's like crazy loud. So it finally stops and I think, okay, well, maybe there's construction happening. It's okay. 5 minutes later, it does it again. So I call the guy. I'm like, can you have somebody come up and look at my toilet? The owner comes up. Long story short, he twists something. He says, I think you're good to go. I'm going to try and make you happy. I'm going to give you 75% off your room.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. So I coordinate with my daughter and I tell her this story. She was like, that is so embarrassing that you are complaining. Gosh, you went full Karen on this guy. And I was like, I'm not embarrassed. This room is ridiculous. So then as I'm talking to her, the toilet does it again. So I gather my stuff up. I go downstairs and I say, listen, I'm going to go have dinner with my daughter. While I'm gone, can you please fix the toilet? He says, no, I'll give you a different room. And I said, okay, give me a different room. So he gave me a different room. This has 2 beds. Fine. We do our night, la, la, la. She comes back with me because now I have 2 beds. We walk in and they've cleaned everything up. And I'm doing air quotes. The floor is still covered in drywall dust, of course. There's still all these wires hanging, blah, blah, blah. She walks in. She looks at me and she was like, mm-hmm. Then we get into the elevator and it ricketies on up to the second floor. And she's like, yeah, I see what you mean. And then we get into the hallway and there's drywall chunks. And then we get in our room and it's in pretty good shape. It's not perfect, but it's in pretty good shape. And I said, listen, the toilet does not run. It's a win. And she was like, so I understand. I apologize because I get it. That's a lot. It's not
Well, at
quite
least
right.
the highlight was that the owner was trying to be helpful and he understood and he wanted you to come back and maybe,
He
so
did.
there
He
is
did.
some.
I mean,
He's got himself in a bind on every level. There's supply chain issues. I know all this. I know the whole story.
but
I'm not going to
he
get into
gave
it,
you
but he's gotten himself
a
a
really good
bind.
discount, which I would be happy about.
I was happy about it, but I had to really work for it, which my daughter was not impressed with, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Should we
Well,
just call you Karen now? Hi,
No.
Karen.
well, that's the teenager. See,
Yeah.
which I think
That's the
that's
teenager.
kind of a topic we're going to talk about today. I think Nancy
So
has a little incident that she wants to discuss that happened with her teenager. Is that right, Nancy?
Let's do it.
So I did have an interesting Friday. So my son is a freshman in high school, and um he needs to be picked up and driven to lots of places. I'm happy to do it. My only thing is that if I'm picking you up and taking you places, when you call me and that you say that you're ready to go, I expect you to be ready to go. Now, I realize that there could be something that happens and you get delayed, and you could like call me and send a quick text, "Hey, I'm delayed a couple minutes." But on Friday, he calls me as I'm on the way to get him to school from school. And it's Friday afternoon, so everybody's hot to trot to get home. And I get to the school and it's busy. So it's like it's on a busy street. So if you don't get there early, you can't pull in and get off the street. So I
Right.
have to I'm stopped, but I'm expecting him to literally just hop in the
Like hop
car
in.
because
Mhm.
he's already called me. I'm like, so I'm looking for him everywhere. I'm looking for him everywhere. And he's not there. I'm calling him, "Where are you? Where are you?" And he's like,
Did he answer?
doesn't pick up.
Oh, he doesn't
He
pick
did
up.
not pick up. He did not answer. He does not text. And I am getting hot under the collar, getting hot,
Mhm.
hot, hotter as I'm waiting. 5
Mhm.
minutes, 6 minutes. And now I'm super hot because now we're past the 5 minute mark. And
Mhm.
I've already talked to him about this. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
Uber. I'm not
Mhm.
Uber.
Right.
Mhm.
So I called Tim and I'm just upset. And I'm like, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Nancy, we've talked about this a lot. We do not live far from the school. I think you should just leave him." And I think today he has to walk home. Like, he's missed his ride, he's missed his opportunity. you know, he, he can walk. And I'm like wringing my hands, like, "Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do that." I'm worried about what will people think as he tells his buddies my mom left. Like, as I tell, because I'm pretty transparent, I tell everybody what I'm doing. Like, will people judge me? And Tim's like, "This is your problem. You worry too much about this. Nothing. You're not putting him in harm's way. It's just a walk. It's not
Yeah.
even that far." And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So I hang up with Tim and I try calling him again and he doesn't pick up. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, that's it. It's
Mhm.
like, so
Mhm.
I send him a text message and say, "Today I can't wait anymore. Today you need to walk home." And I leave. And as I'm pulling out, Riley calls me and he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Well,
I
I just
left
have been
you.
waiting here to today. I feel like you need to walk home because I told you I can't wait any longer." So
Mhm.
go, and he laughed. He goes, "Seriously?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll see you when you get home." And he's like, "Okay." So I'm feeling so guilty as I'm going home without my son sitting in the car with me. And I run in, as on my way home, I run in and I have to pick something up at the store. I'm still rattled with guilt. Get home, go into Tim's office to talk to him about, I just can't, I mean, can you believe that I had to leave Riley? Like, I feel terrible. Like, and then as I'm wringing my hands processing this, my sweet little Riley calls. "Hey, Mom, um, a buddy of mine is up here at this mart at the shopping strip here. We're gonna go to Starbucks and just hang out. Is that cool?" "What? What?"
Mhm.
So he's not
I was
phased
like,
by it.
"Oh," I was like, "Oh,"
Mhm.
I'm like, "Well, should we circle back of why you're on foot?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Totally my bad. My bad. Is it okay with you though if I hang out here and like hang out with my buddy here for a little bit before I come home?"
Mhm.
"Sure. Sure."
Mhm.
So Tim is laughing, like belly laughing, because he's like, he's real broken up. He's real broken up. So that was my Friday afternoon. And like we did process it. Like moving forward, I was just like, I'm happy to pick you up, but you know, so on Monday when I'm dropping him to school, he's like, "So am I walking home today or are you picking me up?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm happy to pick you up, but if you're going to be late, you need to call me. But otherwise,
Yeah.
you need to be waiting. Like,
Yeah.
I have things to do. You have I have other kids, like, you know. So
I mean,
it's
to me,
just
this is so normal. I mean, this is so teenagers are so self-centered. They don't think about anybody else unless you really point it out to them. They do not. He's in the moment with a friend, talking to somebody, having a good time.
Yeah. I actually,
I mean, to me, it's totally
yeah.
normal.
I have,
Kathy, to be
I have,
honest, I was the most concerned to tell you because Kathy never, I feel like her kids never do anything wrong. And I'm constantly irritated by like something. And I'm like, would Kathy ever like leave her child? I'm like, I don't know if she would. And here I am like, find your own ride home.
well, I mean, Nancy, you do live closer to school, so I don't think that was a big deal. I actually think it's fine. I've had these issues. I mean, I have 3 teenagers. I mean, my youngest has been very self-centered like that with time. One time I went to school and he wasn't ready to be, and I was like, I could see him in like the courtyard area just gabbing away. And I know he saw me because he
Yeah.
looked at me and I was like, dude, I'm like over here. That
Start
he keeps
walking.
talking to his buddies and they're kicking around a soccer ball or something. And I'm like, really? So when he got in the car,
You
I
know,
laid
do you,
into him like, that was rude that you were like left me hanging here. I'm like, but I realized I actually have done a little research about this. I just want to tell you, this is my science brain coming out. There's a region in your brain, the frontal cortex, in
right,
kids. It's the last to develop, right?
right,
And this is what we're
totally,
talking about. It's responsible
right.
for impulse control, your emotions. Let me see, focusing attention, prioritizing,
Yeah.
ability to ignore external distractions, which nail
Yes.
on the head,
You're a distraction, Mom.
impulse control. So it's like,
Right.
their brains are under construction. It explains like a
Yeah,
Totally.
lot, a lot.
it
Totally. And
does.
my
But
and my
I
social worker brain knows that, but my mom brain is like, we've talked about this a bazillion times and trying to find a balance
Yeah,
between like
yeah.
I know you're developing and I know things are going to happen to why are we constantly hitting literally a roadblock?
yeah.
And then the other little tiny little thing is like phones. These phones are going to be the death of me, and when he does come, he's constantly looking at his phone and like the shuffle walk to get to the car, looking at
I
his
know.
phone. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, really?
I feel the same way about
Well,
the phones.
it makes you feel like you're not important, and it makes you feel like he's not walking with intention.
Right.
It's not purposeful, but that is how it comes across. So, I mean, I think you did a great job talking about it with him and getting him to really recognize that this is not acceptable. And so,
I mean, he
if you
acknowledged it,
keep doing
Nancy.
that and there was a good consequence, he probably won't do it again. I'm out of this phase. So, all my people drive and I don't have to drive people around anymore, which is like a love-hate thing, but I mean, if they're late, I mean, you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's on them.
You can have your coach yell at you. I mean, that is on you.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
I
you
mean,
guys, have you seen the Tina Fey? I've talked about this with several people, but I am feeling this so hard that she does this little sketch
mm,
on like Jimmy Kimmel or something, and I don't know what. She's like, having it, she says teenage daughters, but I think it relates to any teenager, like my son for sure. Is
yeah.
like having an office crush. Have you all seen this?
Mhm.
Where
I
she's
have.
just
It's
like
hysterical.
it's so funny. She's just like, she comes in like she does it so funny, and maybe we can put a link to watch it. But she's just
Yeah.
like, do you want to come have dinner with us? Oh, great, you do? Like no eye contact, it's like that's totally that's totally how I feel. Like Riley the other day came and sat with me and he didn't really want to talk to me, but he was present and I was like, oh, this is great. Don't
Just
talk, no eye contact.
yeah.
I
You
mean,
can't say
it's
a
like
word. Yeah.
but he's here with me. This is amazing. Like it's crazy, but it's so funny,
Yeah,
and that is completely how I feel right now. It's
it's
like it's just
it's like the day-to-day changes.
It
Sometimes they
is.
want to
I think
talk
about
and
those
other
sweet
times they don't.
Yes. I had a neighbor who back in Chicago said, when you have teenagers, you have to be available for when they want to talk. And she's like, it's annoying, but like, especially boys, if they want to talk, she was a person that didn't like to stay up late. And she figured out that her son would talk to her during Saturday Night Live. And so she would stay up every Saturday and watch Saturday Night Live. And he would like talk to her. And, so she worked her whole life around Saturday Night Live so she could have a few moments of time, quality time with him. So I find what no one warns you. It's like when you have those sweet little babies, you're so worried about like them eating and sleeping and all the things. And then you get in that sweet spot where I think you're kind of there, Nance, with your youngest. And then you get these teens and they stay up late.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
when they want to talk, it's like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Like our youngest is still at home and our two that are away at school, they'll text me or email me at
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm scared to turn my phone completely off because what if they really need me and like they're like in an accident or something? But I'm like, what is happening? Why do you have to
Yeah.
talk to me in the middle of the night? Can't you
Yeah.
call me in the morning? Like
Yeah.
that's when I'm my
Right.
best.
I
But
always,
it's all about
I
them.
always find I like it when I have to go somewhere in the car with them, even if it's not purposeful. It's just we're together. They always talk to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yes. I find that too.
It's a
I
hit or
actually was
miss.
sad when my last one started driving and I wasn't driving him to activities anymore because that was a really good quality time. Like they're
Yeah.
trapped,
Yeah.
and it's great because there's nothing else to do but listen to
Yeah.
music and chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we text each other at 11:30 at night.
Well,
Well, one little nugget I do with my kids, all of them, is I send them like a little emoji or GIF or something that says good night, sweet dreams, or something like that. And then our oldest has a roommate who was going through a rough time. And then added her to my list. And then another friend's child was kind of like her grandmother passed away and she was super sad. So I added her. And I get these reports back from even these like adopted kids that I do this with. Like they love it. They love to
Yeah.
feel like somebody cares about them before they go to bed.
It's nice. You
So
know what? Do you know what we do? Like, it's a little thing, but in the car, like Riley might not talk to me a lot on the way to school, which is totally fine. But he always fist bumps me as he's getting out the car. Like, I got this. Like, and it's kind of become our little.
yeah, that's sweet.
yeah. And then you just have to find those
Yeah.
connection times, and set those boundaries for how they treat you. And they don't have to always be happy with us, but I do think it really sets the tone for like the young adult ages. I feel like Kathy, you and I both have kids that are older and they're lovely young adults, and I do think, all those expectations, they don't have to be like overbearing, but
Yeah.
you know, those family expectations and just respectful times with each other is so important. But I think your son not cluing in that he's making somebody wait is so
Yeah. Yeah.
appropriate and so normal. And, you know,
Yeah.
I think I said to you, though, I think you're kind of in that tricky spot because you have somebody who's kind of starting to flee the nest and you have somebody else at home who still is in it and you are very still directive of that life.
Right.
And that
It's
is a
like
tricky
yes,
balance of
it
like
is.
letting go one child and like really kind of letting them spring. And then the other one is still like, oh, no, 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 we don't do this. This is what we're going to do. You're
Right.
still in that controlling sort of
Right.
pod, which is hard to shift mentally, I think, sometimes. You just,
You
you'll
know
just
what
have
I
to.
feel like sometimes? I like do you know Toy Story where they had those little piglets that were the Mr. Potato Head or whatever? I feel like I need to put one of those on the thing, like, here's a quarter for your therapy jar for like later in life. Like this is like there you go. But anyway, like
I don't know. I think everybody I mean, we're all doing the best we can. And
Yeah.
even that you're thinking about it makes it amazing.
Well,
And,
you said your
you know,
piece with him and he acknowledged it. So I think you're good. As long
Yeah.
as you
So,
don't
he's
I
great.
anybody
feel
that's
like as
listening,
long as you're not
eh,
letting them get away with it, I think that's what you have to do.
could take a
Yeah.
poll if anyone's listening. Would you leave your child? Yay or nay?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, what's for dinner tonight?
So I actually have a plan, and it is I'm making my friend Jill's flank steak recipe. She gave this to me years and years ago, and I typed it up and we'll attach it to the notes. It's super easy, and flank steak can handle marinade for a long time. So I put it actually in the marinade like 2 days ago. So I'm going to grill that, and we're going to have some steamed broccoli and I don't know. Maybe I'll do a potato of some sort. I haven't really figured out the accompaniments, but Jill's flank steak. Try it. It's super easy and
That
delicious.
does sound good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I picked up some roast chicken at the store. I'm not really cooking tonight. We're just having that. And I'll probably do like mushroom rice, which is the boys' fave, and maybe some fruit or
That
something.
sounds good.
It's actually very nice today.
Mm-hmm.
The rain has left, so maybe we'll sit outside.
That sounds
That
nice.
sounds
Yeah.
nice. What about you, Nance?
We have a busy evening tonight, so I need to do something fast. So I think we're going to do smash burgers.
Chick-fil-A.
Um, just down and dirty. We had Chick-fil-A not too long ago, and I love Chick-fil-A, but I feel like I can't do it all the time.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
know.
So tonight is smash burgers. They can eat it as they run out the door.
It's good.
All right,
We
girls.
love smash burgers.
Well, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Sisters out.